Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome to AFM past paper. So you have to log into your ACCA website and go to AFM and select the paper AFM March June 2022. So this is the paper that I'm going to do today. The three questions. This is the first question. As you know, it's for 50 marks. Okay. And in this question, it is about investment. You can see investment appraisal detail and can pay for fair production. This shows that your 50 marks question is a question on net present value. Okay. Now, so all the calculations we'll be doing in the spreadsheet, and whatever we have to write will be in the word processor. Okay. Now, we'll open the exhibit and see what it is. Or you can even start with the requirements. Start reading the requirements first. That will help you what you are looking in the exhibit. So always start reading with requirements first and then go to the exhibits. Okay. Here, first question, explain the role of the World Trade Organization. So from your section A of AFM syllabus, that is the role of the senior financial advisor, you have got this part. Explain the role of the World Trade Organization and assess the implications for the company of the free trade agreement between Allen and Martek in the context of World Trade Organization requirements. It's worth 4 marks. 4 marks. That means you have to give 4 roles. Now, coming to part B. Prepare a report. Remember, your part B is the biggest. It's worth the biggest marks. This is where you have to do every calculation and everything. Okay, you have to prepare a report. So this report is only for part B. Okay, it is not for part A and part C. For the directors of the Riso company. Evaluate the financial acceptability of the investment. Whenever they say financial acceptability, it means nothing but they are telling you to calculate net present value. Okay, then it's for 17 marks. 5 marks is for discuss the assumptions made with respect to the calculations. You have to state your assumptions. This is a must in AFM, okay? Whether they tell you or don't, you have to state assumptions for 5 marks. That means you can give 5 assumptions, 1 mark for each point. Then calculate the, now it's up to you, okay? See, I will tell you how to divide the time. The paper is 3 or 15 minutes, okay? So what you could do is the first 15 minutes you can just go through all the 3 questions so that your mind is settled. Okay, you know what is it. Usually I used to do that. First 15 minutes I plan. I go through all the 3 questions first so that I know what it is. Okay, then I start coming back to question 1 and start doing it. Now, many of you would ask me which one to attempt. Is it section A, the 50 marks question, or should I do 25 marks question? I would say the choice is yours. Giving the time, okay, within the time limit, you can do anything. In the time limit, you can do anything, whether section B or is your choice. But what I personally suggest and what I also have done during my time is I start with 50 marks question first. There are 2 reasons. One, because in a 50 marks question, because it's a 50 marks question, it carries more marks. Okay. And second, professional marks. The 4 professional marks are there only in your question 1, section A. That's another reason for me to do section A. And third reason, if I do section A, if I finish section A, I at least know one big chunk is over, 50 marks is over. Now I just have to work on the 225 marks question, and which is less also in terms of reading exhibits, in terms of requirement is less. So I have less things to deal with, less stress I'll be facing rather than keeping that 50 marks at the end. Then I'll be facing more this thing, you know. So that's another thing. So now, but it's your choice, okay? Now, third one, calculate the investment's duration for 2 marks. Then the percentage change in initial selling price required for the investment to have a 0 net present value based on sales revenue. Do you know another word for this? If you have followed my AFM lecture from my AFM playlist, You know what is this term? Exactly, it is sensitivity analysis. You have to do sensitivity analysis. That's what they are asking you for 6 marks. Then discuss the significance of and concerns with the calculations in the part 3. Whatever you have calculated here, duration and the sensitivity, now you have to discuss the significance of it and the concerns. I've told you everything that you calculate, you have to know how to write about it also in AFM. It is not purely calculation. Okay. Professional marks will be for part B for the format. That means it has to be in a form of a report. Your structure, how you are doing your calculations and how you're writing, and the presentation of the report. I will show you how to do that. Part C. This is separate from the report, part A and C, okay? Discuss. This is a discussion question. The factors that may determine the extent to which they adopt the campaign for the fair production charter in developing its framework for investment policy for 6 marks. So if you see how many marks is there for calculation versus how many marks is there for writing. You see here 4 marks. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 6 and 4, that means 9 plus 10. 19 out of 50. 19 marks is just for discussion. The balance 31 is for calculation. But 19 is not a less, right? Now, let us go to section B. Go to next and it will take you to question number 2. This is question number 2. Question number 2 is about risk management. Mostly question 2 is about risk management only. Okay. We'll read the requirement first. Okay. You will see this is always repeated. So this will bring a smile on your face. I'm sure most of you are smiling because this is what you have been doing over and over again in all your questions. And it's the same way that it's usually asked. You have to calculate using 3-4 derivatives, compare, and maybe one theory question about out of one hedging techniques, right? So, A. Recommend on financial grounds a hedging strategy for this payment. Using market data available on 1st March and assuming options are exercised. Assume basis dimension 0 and okay. That is okay. 9 marks. This is one of the easiest. Okay, using different derivatives, you have to decide which one will give you the lowest payment. Part B, evaluate the impact on the results of using the 3 hedging instruments being considered. If the rates and the future prices are per scenarios as this and this, it is there from exhibit 2, you will get it for 6 marks. You have to write. This is also something which you can do. C, explain what is meant by basis and basis risk. This you know, I have explained you in your futures. I told you have to write. And discuss the impact of this on the hedging decisions that you have made in part A and B. Don't go and change your part A and B. But how this will impact on your A and B, you have to explain. So this shows that you have to do your questions in the order. Requirements needs to be done in the order. Because without doing A and B, you cannot go and explain I mean, you can explain, but you cannot show the impact on it on part A and B. So the wise strategy is do it in order. Okay. D. Explain the reasons why local treasury functions may be established in countries where they operate. So this is about treasury function. This is also something easy for 6 marks. Now let us go to question 3. Let's read the requirement first because without reading the requirement you will not understand. So this is calculate the expected sale price of the coffee shop. Okay. For 4 marks. Highlight. Always highlight the important ones. Calculate the impact of the sale on the coffee shops. So this looks like it's a reconstruction question because you are selling. That means in this question you didn't get acquisition merger. Okay. So calculate the impact of the sale on statement of financial position, earnings per share, weighted average cost of capital. Be ready. Okay. Whenever reconstruction question is asked, they often ask this. Statement on the impact on statement of financial position, earnings per share and WACC. Okay, for 9 marks. B, evaluate the arguments for and against. That means you have to show arguments for both the side in decision to sell the coffee shop. And C, See, the good thing about AFM is you will only be asked on specific area. If you are asked only on that area, only they will ask questions. For example, this is about sale of coffee shop. They will only ask about sale of coffee shop, financial impact, non-financial impact, reasons, advantages, like that. Same for risk management also. On those derivatives only they will ask questions. But section 50 marks question usually they can ask question from various areas. Like you can see, it is from investment appraisal also and also section A regarding World Trade Organization and all. C. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of suggestion made by the non-executive director. Okay, go here and highlight. You have to click here and you can choose any color. So now what I do is I start with the 50 marks question first. So I'm going to go to 50 marks question and attempt that first. You have to go to previous. Okay. Now you have an option. What do you want to do first? Do you want to finish with the report first and then do A and C? Or you want to first finish with A and C and then do the report? Or you want to do it in the order A, then the report, the B, part B and then C? Anything you can do. Usually what I do is I follow the order. Okay. Because for me, anyway I have to do, anyway I have to do. I mean, I don't waste time because it wastes a lot of time. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do it? Waste a lot of time. I don't do that. I automatically do it in order. If I cannot solve it, I just go to the next one. Because I know sometime I'll be saving. I can come back and I will do it. So let's do with the part A. Okay. This should take you 4 into 1.8. How many minutes? 7 minutes. So count yourself time, put an alarm for 7 minutes. After 7 minutes, we'll be going to part B. Now explain the role. You need word processor for this. Nothing to do with Excel. Okay, but you need your exhibit 1. The good thing is the way your requirements are asked, no, in this order, your exhibits are also listed in the same order. For example, question A, first part, you will get your answer in your first exhibit only. Maybe sometimes you have to open second exhibit, but most of it you will get in the first exhibit. So you can say by just looking at this, this is for part A, exhibit 1. Exhibit 2 is for part B because it shows investment appraisal detail. And this fair production, this is for part C. You understanding? So that's a good way that they have structured. So let's open part A, but open all the exhibits before you answer any requirement. That's the wise strategy. Okay. So this you can quickly read. It's nothing much. The company is a multinational company based in country. Their board is considering establishing a subsidiary in the country of Allen to manufacture and sell a new model of mobile phone. That means basically they're setting up in a new country with a new currency. They have a free trade agreement in a place with a number of countries, including MARTEC and trades on World Trade Organization with other countries. You should know about free trade agreements. Okay. That means you can trade with the members. Okay. Now explain the role of World Trade Organization. And assess. This is second requirement which you have to do. 2 marks for the role of World Trade Organization. The other 2 marks is for this one. Always when 1 mark is given, but you have multiple requirements. How do you know for how many marks? See, the best thing is divide it equally. This one has 2 requirements with 4 marks. So divide equally. 2 marks for role of World Trade Organization, 2 for assessing the implication of the free trade. Okay, that means give 2 roles and 2 assessment. Okay, so word processor. When you do, please label it that this is 1A. There are so many things. We don't know whether it's for part B or for part C. You have to label it like this. Don't assume examiners will know. Maybe I can bold it out. Okay, how it looks better. So tell me. And when you are writing it, you have to write this in 2 separate paragraphs because there are 2 requirements. Please understand. Whenever they say and, explain the something and the number of times and is there, it will tell you how many requirements. If there are 3 times and is there, 3 requirements. Okay, this is, sorry, 3 times means there are 2 requirements. Here it's 1. This and, so that means 2 requirements. Okay, it's not 1 requirement. Don't go and list the 4 roles of World Trade Organization. You will only get 2 marks. I'm telling you this from before because I know this is the mistake candidates often do. Okay. So now when you start with You write this as a subheading, role of WTO. Okay, make sure it's in bold. Keep your subheadings in bold, because I told you presentation matters a lot. You're going to get your 4 professional marks. Even if you don't get your 4 professional marks, at least keep your answer presentable, even if you're typing. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the bold. I'm going to just write without the bold. Okay, 2 points. That means this you will write in 2 separate paragraphs, the role of WTO. Okay, when you have studied the role of WTO, you must have gone through various roles, but list only two. Okay, out of it, whatever you can remember, whatever on which you can explain, write those 2 points. One role of WTO is what? I'm writing in terms of points. I'm not writing the whole sentence. You can go and read the answer later. Okay, one is it promotes free trade. I will write it in terms of bullet points, but you have to write in proper full sentences. Promotes free trade. They apply. How do they promote free trade? They apply the most favored nation principle between its members. Most favored nation principle. Okay, what does it mean? That means any trade barriers like tariffs, quota, all those things between member countries, they reduce it. Okay, that means that reduction in tariffs that is offered to one country by another should be offered to all the countries. If you are reducing the barrier from one country to another, this has to be given for all the countries. That's how they are promoting free trade. Second role is, which comes in second paragraph, is what? Please time. How long are you taking to write this whole answer? Are you finishing it in 7 minutes? Time yourself. The more you time yourself, the more conscious you become of the time, and more time you will save. Don't waste so much of time thinking. If you are wasting too much of time thinking, please understand this while practicing. This will tell you that you have a lack of knowledge in that area, because you have to be so prepared that you don't even get time to think. The moment you see the question, you have to sit and start writing the answer. You have to know it. Maybe 1 minute or 1.5 minute you can spend on thinking. Okay, how I'm like, maybe for the structure you can take some time to set up the structure of your answer visually, like mentally you're thinking, but not what is WTO or what is the role of WTO. You cannot question like that, because this was there in your AFM syllabus. It has been given in section A, right? What is the next role? It reduces barriers to international trade. Reducing barrier to international international trade. This is another thing. How did it do? It established, okay, the see World Trade Organization was established to implement the general agreement on tariffs and trade. Okay, the main aim was to reduce barrier to international trade. Why does it do? Because they want to prevent the protectionist measure, such as tariffs. See, some countries put tariffs or quotas or embargoes. They try to restrict imports. Okay, so in order to remove that restrictions, okay, WTO came in the picture. You understanding? They reduce this barrier to international trade. Okay, or some of you might write the third point. You don't have to write 3 points, but you might also write that this is a forum for negotiation and dispute resolution between countries. I will write it for you in case you might think of this. Okay, it also offers a forum. Here you can come and negotiate and solve your problem, the two countries. Okay, so this is that forum where you can negotiate for negotiation and dispute resolution. Even if this exhibit is given to you, don't think that you can extract the answer from the exhibit. Okay, exhibit will only tell you that they are setting in a different country, what currency they are in, they are involved in W trade. That's it. The role of WTO will not be given in the exhibit. That you have to, what you have studied in AFM only you have to apply. Okay. Maybe you might think that what is this? There's nothing in exhibit 1 to use. Yes, true. Sometimes you will feel like that also. That is baseless. But it's okay. As far as you know the role of WTO, that's enough. Okay. But if it's financial, this thing, for financial calculations and all, you can make the full use of exhibit. Everything you will get from there. But for discussion question like this, you have to use the knowledge of what you have studied in AFM. Okay. Now, this is over. Next is what? Same. We are still in 1A. We finished the role of WTO. Remember, only 2 you have to write, okay? The third one I just wrote for some of you might uh, think this also, right? Any 2 you can write, any 2, only 2. Assess the implication they told. So the implications, you can write this, you can write anything as a subheading, okay? But keep it to 2 to 3 words, that's it. Don't write paragraphs and sentences. And some of you, okay, try to do this. You try to copy paste it here. Copy, paste. Some of you do this also. This should not be done. This should not be a subheading like this. Never do this. Your subheading has to be very brief, 2 to 3 words, I told you. So implications for, write the name of the company. Always mention the name of the company. Don't say the company. What is the name of the company? In this case, it is Rice or Company. Make it bold. Be consistent. Okay, because here you have done it in bold. Here also you have to make it bold. Now we are coming and writing the implications. 2 implications. What is it? This also will be in 2 different paragraphs. What is the implication of on the company? See, we'll always keep this in front of you. The requirements, keep it in front of you. Do not close it. It will help you. The more every time you see requirements, you will know what to answer. Otherwise, you will get wrong. You will forget. Most of the time, you will forget what the requirement is, even if you have read it 100 times. Because you are in the condition of exam, you are stressed, you will be panicking. That is common. That's why keep it in front of you. And keep it reading every time until you are very sure what you write. So assess the implications for the company of the free trade agreement between this and this in the context of World Trade Organization requirements. This was the rule, right? So regarding this, what could be the implication if they were in a free trade agreement for the company? Think. You can talk about sales. They are selling. So if sales are expanded to other countries outside this free trade area, okay, then the company's subsidiaries good may be subject to, then you are subject to tariff. Remember here you told reducing, see you have to link your answer to these 3 rules, okay? This 2 rule, whatever 2 rules you have chosen. So reducing barrier. So if you are trading outside that free trade area, you have to face the barrier. You understanding? You will not get the benefit of reduced barriers. Then there will be no free trade. Then your goods will be subject to tariffs. That means then your imports will be expensive. You have to pay more. Okay? Okay, I will write it for you in case you want the proper answer. Okay? If sales are expanded to other countries means not in this free trade. Outside the FTA, free trade agreement, then the company, okay, price or company's subsidiary goods may be subject to tariffs. Okay, they might be subject to tariffs and other measures, tariffs, quotas, embargoes, whatever. Now you have to pay that tariff. Earlier you were free from that tariff because you were in the free trade agreement, you were doing the sales. If you do outside, this is an implication. What is the next you can think of? You can link this with the first one. Promotes free trade. Think. See, implications means it could be positive, it could be negative. Okay, don't always think negatively. You can give positive implications also. See, now because they are promoting free trade means what? Because now in the free trade, okay, remember W2 is giving you the most favored nation. That means preferential treatment should be given to one country to another. So if both of them, both of what? Elen and Bartek, if both are operating in that free trade agreement, they both will be giving each other preferential treatment. So because of that, both country will benefit. One country is importing, he does not have to pay a tariff. The other one is selling, he also will get benefit. So both the countries are benefiting in this case. Okay, I don't think I have to write it. Maybe you can write it by yourself. Okay, that the free trade agreement between this both Martech and Ellen will help the company both in relation to the components that is imported and any sales to Martech. Okay, you can write it. Now we are coming to the report. So write it on your own and time yourself and say 7 minutes. After 7 minutes is over, we are going to the report using the same word processor. Come down here. You need to click, press enter, keep pressing enter, leave space, part B. This also I will keep it bold. The same way I've done it for A. Now when you are writing a report, write it. Write a proper heading, report to whom. You have to write like this when you are writing a report. To whom you are writing? Report to board. You can write short form, board of director. Report to board of director. Okay, this is simple. Of the company, mention the name of the company. Always write it's a report. This has to be there when you are asked to write a report. And report always starts with introduction. So you have to write introduction as a subheading and you have to write an introduction. Finish this part first before jumping to the calculation, because just things easily you can do it, and professional marks you are getting for this only. How you are writing the introduction, how you are writing the middle part, how you are concluding it, are you writing it in a form of a report, all these things will give you marks. And calculation, you are not doing it in the main report, you are writing it as an appendix later on. Okay, I will show you how to do that because this is very important. I will only be doing one AFM question, I mean one AFM past paper, hold this paper for your September exam, because with this one paper it's enough for you to understand how the other papers will, because other papers also questions are similar, you will be able to implement what you have studied here in those questions in those paper. So introduction should not be more than 2 to 3 lines, very brief. That means what you are doing in the report. So your introduction, how will you know your introduction? You will get it from here. First you are evaluating financial acceptability, then you are stating your assumptions, then your duration, percentage in selling price, significance of this. So basically all these 4 things you are doing, those 4 things only you are writing in the introduction. Always for introduction, if you are confused what to write, open your requirements, see what you are being told to do. That is what you have to write in the introduction, that this is what you are doing in the report. Pick up it from the requirements itself. Okay, and arrange it in your own words. but 2 to 3 lines. So I will write this introduction for you. You can use it for your future reference by changing the name of the company, and the requirement also might change a bit. Based on that, you might change the words here and there, but this is how you write this report. These things you can write same every time. This report discuss this report discuss that. Okay, so this report discusses the assumptions made. Try to keep your introduction as short as possible, but that does not mean you are not writing the important things. Everything needs to be written. Okay, assumptions made in calculating estimates presented below. You see, you are going to present it below, so these things you can write presented below with detailed calculations. Given in, you have to write also where the calculations will be given in the introduction itself. You have to write where the calculations you are giving it. Given in the appendices. I told you, use it as a monologue, use it everywhere. Any report comes, just copy paste and change the name of the company and some words based on the requirement, because your requirements might be different. If it's the same requirement, investment appraisal, this only you can write. In appendices and workings to the appendices. It then remember, sensitivity analysis was asked. So it then, whatever the requirements asked, all the requirements you have to write in your introduction. But you cannot copy paste. I didn't copy paste anything here. I'm writing in my own words. It then discusses the issues connected with the calculation of duration. You see, they asked duration. Whatever is asked in the report only you have to write, not part A and C. Calculation of duration and the sensitivity of the initial sales price. You see, then leave space and write what the report is going to conclude with. That also you have to give. So the moment someone reads your introduction, remember the first thing examiner will read your introduction. If your introduction is excellent, you will get your professional marks, and also it will inspire them to read your report further. You can be sure that you are going to get more, carry more marks in that way. Obviously you cannot write junk stuff in your report and get the marks, but writing a good introduction shows that you are very well prepared. You have prepared your report very well. Okay, so the report finally recommends. This also you have to write what you are going to end your report with justification and justifications and qualifications, whether okay, or just write justifications whether or not, name of the company always, whether the company should undertake the investment or not undertake the investment. You have to type at a very high speed. Okay, that you have to practice. Keep practicing until you are not able to do your calculation as well as typing in that time, 3 or 15 minutes. Okay, so this is enough. You see, it's in 3 or 4 lines. Okay, max, your limit is 5 lines. Okay, beyond that don't exit. Now see, first part is, again open the requirement. First part is calculation. This will go in your appendix, but in your report you can start from second, stating your assumptions. Okay, with respect to the calculations done above, you will just write the subheading in the report because you have to create a format of the report. Okay, don't worry. So assumptions. Okay, make sure that this is also in bold. Your introduction is in bold, it's a subheading. This is the second subheading, assumptions. Okay, now how many assumptions you are writing? For assumptions, they have given you separate marks for 5 marks. So 5 assumptions you can give. Okay, 5 assumptions, 5 separate paragraphs. I will only give you the points, but I will not give you the full, I will not write it the full sentence for you. That is your job. Because if I do everything for you, you will not learn anything. Okay, to do assumptions. Okay, now if you have done enough questions, you know that you can, even without doing the calculation, you can easily state the assumptions. Do you know that? If you are very much practiced and you have reached at this stage, you can be very confident that without doing calculation, you can do that. You don't have to wait to finish all the calculation and then state your assumption. But it's up to you now whether you want to state assumptions and finish it off, then go back to the calculation, or finish calculation and then come and state your assumption. Anything is fine. Okay, anything is fine. But what I do, I usually do the calculation and finish it off first. Okay, now we have another thing, that is duration. Okay, see, according to this order, the way it is given, no, that order only you have to make the report. First one was calculation, financial acceptability. Okay, that will go under appendix. Next was your assumption, which I have listed. Third will be your duration. So your next subheading, you know, is duration, and then the the sensitivity. Okay, so leave some space. Okay, you can always enter and okay, leave space. Always set the format of the report first before going to the calculation. Once you go to the calculation, you will entirely forget about the report. Trust me on this. You will forget about the layout of the report. You will write it in any order and lose out your professional marks. So that should not happen. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so I'm back. So the next one is duration. Okay, always set out your layout. This will not take more than 1 minute. Now it's taking time because I'm explaining you first time. So after duration, we have sensitivity of selling as a subheading. Sensitivity. If you do this, then you will know what you have missed out. If you see this blank spaces, no, you will know that this is what you have to come back and do. This is another advantage of doing this first. Whatever you can do quickly in 1 minute, do it. Do it now. Don't delay to do it later. Okay, that is a smart strategy that you have to do it in exam in order to save time, because you have to do multiple things. Sensitivity of selling price. Then what's next? Sensitivity of selling price and duration. Also you will know how much you have to write. Okay, go to the requirements. For duration, it's for 2 marks. This is for 6 marks. Okay, And then we have significance and all those things, another 6 marks. That with this you can explain. This part and this part can be done together under sensitivity of selling price. You are calculating also, you are discussing also. Finally, conclusion. Never forget the conclusion in your report. Okay. Conclusion also you cannot do now because you have to finish the report. That is at the end. You have to write. Basically, you are writing whether the net present value is positive or negative, whether you accept or reject the project, and then you talk about duration, sensitivity, and everything in the conclusion you talk very briefly. Okay. Now, after this report, now you see the layout of the report is already set for you. Now, what do you do? What do you do? Appendix. Now, calculation comes, for which you have to open a spreadsheet, go to Excel. Okay. Here you have to do your appendix. Calculations will be done here. Okay, so write appendix 1. Okay, just write that this is part B, the second part of part B. Sorry, the first part of part B. You have to label it like this. Okay, because you are using both word processor and spreadsheet. So you have to label which part of this is for the spreadsheet. This is first part of B. Okay. Make sure that you write, make it bold. And then we have label it. What is appendix 1? Project operating cash flow. My spelling might be wrong, but it's okay for now, because just want to see if I'm just using short form in order to save time now. Okay. Bold. Okay. Now you'll be having workings also for those. This is the main cash flow table, net present value. For this, now I have to open my investment 2. Everything you will get it in exhibit 2, but always open all your 3 exhibits and see. Third one, if you see, it is no calculation, no numbers. That means you do not require it for your part 2. Sorry, first requirement. Okay, this is regarding your last requirement only, so leave it. But at least open and see. You might never know what you might end up getting here also, even if you're not reading it in detail. Okay, so here, take it here, zoom it out from here, right hand side, drag it like this, because this is the only area how you can zoom it. Okay, then you can zoom like this also, but I'll keep it to 100. Okay, I think this is good enough, right? Now here you have been given a 4-year time horizon. Quickly you have to read. Okay, your reading speed also has to be at very fast, because you have to do so many things, reading, doing calculation, going back to the report again, writing it, multiple things you have to do. That's why you have to do everything at high speed. So it's a 4-year horizon, and though the subsidy may operate for longer, the board also consider an offer for the subsidy as a going concern expected sales. So you have been given the unit and the sales. Okay, in which currency? ED currency, in thousand, ED 1000. If this is an international this thing, you have to convert the currencies also. That means exchange rates also you will have here. The sales figure has been calculated using assumption that the selling price, see, already they have one assumption you already got from here. Fantastic. You have been doing one thing, you got another thing also. For assumption also you got your answer regarding sale price. So this also you can write. Sale price will, okay. Assumption is that they will charge a unit selling price of ED 116 year 1 and increase the unit sale price by 5% per year. So selling price is 160 ED in year 1. After that, every year they will increase it by 5%. Okay, always highlight the important words. The new phone will require a component made in Martech and charged at a transfer price of. Be ready for the transfer price also. Okay. Transfer price of this one, M$7. This is in different currency per unit in year one. Okay, be ready for the different currency also. The transfer price will increase by the annual rate of inflation in MarTech each year. This will increase by the annual rate of inflation by MarTech each year. Okay. The parent company will achieve a pre-tax contribution of 35% on sales of the component to the subsidiary. Investment in the new company is likely to mean the loss of a future sales on existing phone, right? Definitely. If you are investing in new phone, whatever the sales you are making in the existing phone, you will lose it. So if the new product is manufactured, the pre-tax contribution lost from the sales will be how much? 400,000 in year one. And it will increase by annual rate of inflation. Other cost of the project has been given. Okay. The immediate investment in non-current asset is this much. The realizable value of non-current asset at the end of year 4 is this much. Assuming the subsidy is not sold as a going concern and assets are sold individually, tax allowable depreciation is deductible from tax benefits for the first 3 years of the investment. So you have been given the tax allowable depreciation also. Okay, balancing allowance is also given. This is assumed to be available at the end of year 4 on the basis of forecast net realizable value of the asset. Another assumption is here. Second assumption. Then they will pay tax at annual rate of 20%. In LN on its profit in the country. However, it will be exempt from any impact of taxation in LN for the first 2 years of operating there. It will be exempt from any impact of taxation in LN in the first 2 years of operating there. At post-tax, all post-tax cash flows will be remitted to this one. Okay, will be remitted. They pay tax on profits at an annual rate of 30% in MarTech. Okay, tax rates are different. A bilateral tax treaty exists between this one and they assume to have paid tax at the annual rate of 20% in LN in all 4 years. Tax in both countries is payable in the year in which the tax liability arises. That's good. The company is of opinion that it has sufficient working capital and no further working capital will be needed for the project. So you don't have to worry about that part. That part is solved. Usually we always work on the working capital also, right? How much it has increased. Now you don't have to work out. So inflation of both the countries in all the 4 years has been given to you. Exchange rate is given to you. You have to use this exchange rate to convert. Discount rate has been given. You have to see whether you have to use this or you have to change it. Okay. Sensitivity analysis and duration. Let's read this also. The company directors are particularly concerned with the sensitivity of the results of the investment appraisal if the initial selling price has to be lower. Definitely. If the selling price has to be higher than this, why would they? It's not of a concern. Only if the selling price reduces, it will be of concern. Why? Because then only your net present value will fall down, right? But they want to know how much selling price has to fall before net present value could be zero. Okay. So if the initial has to be lower to stabilize the phone in the market. The directors are also wondering how long it will take for the investment to contribute value. That means duration. Their finance directors suggested that this should be measured by the investment's duration. Okay. So now, since you have been doing net present value, net present value, net present value. Okay. My first lecture was investment appraisal. That was, so how do you start? You start with the sales, then all the cost, deduct cost, then the tax, convert, and whatever is there in your home country, you adjust. Okay. So here, first you know that you need 5 columns starting with year 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's start with here. Which currency it has to be? ED 1000. All has to be in ED 1000. ED 1000. Okay. Just copy paste it or you can just drag it to the other cell. Do not waste time. See, this is, you need to know how to save time in the small, small things. Don't waste time. Just, you can make it bold, you can center align, all these things you can do. Here, drop down the three zeros, okay? Always when you're working, best thing is to drop down the three zeros. It will save a lot of time and it means you are dealing with small number. Here, zero, start with zero always, one, two, three, four. Because you are paying tax in the same year, you don't have to add an additional year, okay? This also I'm going to make it bold and like this, you see, now it looks better. Starting with sales. I'm going to list down everything. After sales, you are going to deduct the cost. There are two types of cost. One is the component cost that you're going to import. The other one is other cost. Okay. Component cost, remember it is in different currency. You have to exchange. So for that reason, okay. What do we need? It will come under. It will come under working. Working two. Wait, I will label it as. Why working two? Why not one? Your first working should be when you are converting exchange rate. Remember that. First working, always whenever exchange rates are given, first working keep as the exchange rate. Then second, third, like that. Okay, based on how you are placing it in the cash flow. That's how the workings will go. So because component costs will come first before any other things, so it will be working too. Okay, you can write it like this. Come and do the calculations later. Then tax allowable depreciation, TAD. No working already given to you. Okay, so what is remaining is profit before tax. This is known as profit before tax. See, I'm setting up the layout before I actually do the calculation. This way also you can do, or otherwise you can do sales, write all the sales, then come to the cost. This will waste a lot of time. By now you should know what comes there. After this, what? Tax. Deduct tax. Tax at what? 20%. Write the tax next to it because there are two tax. Okay. Again, don't forget to add back your tax allowable depreciation. You always have to do it. Okay. Your initial investment is there. So investment. After that, you'll be getting your cash flows. In what? In. Always write in which currency cash flows it will be in. In ED, 1000. But you have to convert it. You have to convert it into M dollar. Okay. So here, your exchange rates will come. Exchange rates. This already you must have done as working one. Okay. Now when you are dealing, okay, it will be again in 1000 but in M dollar. So here, what you'll be getting is cash flows. Very quickly you have to do all this, okay? M dollar, 1000. Now here, everything in M, country M only you have to deal with. You are going to pay an additional tax. Why? Because you have paid 20% tax there, but when it came to your home, another 10% you have to pay because here the tax is 30%. And double tax treaty says additional tax only needs to be paid. You don't have to pay 20 because already you paid 20% there. You don't have to come here and pay 30%, right? Pay only the difference. 30 minus 20, 10%. So additional tax in Martech, 10%. I will just drag this. Okay, this is better. Then do you have to pay any tax? You are going to make additional contribution from the new country when you are importing them. So additional contribution needs to be added. Okay. See, for this additional tax that you have to pay, there's a working that is required. How much tax? Working 3, because already working 1 and 2 is over. Additional contribution requires working 4. Then you have to pay tax on that additional contribution. Don't forget the tax. Whenever additional contribution you make, have to pay tax. Tax on additional contribution. Working? Do we need a working? No. Just apply 30% on that. Because when it comes to your home, on additional contribution, your double tax treaty is only applicable for your profit. Profit that is remitted, on that only you will pay the 10%. But whatever is happening in Martech, on that you have to pay the Martex tax only. Full Martex tax only you have to pay. Their double tax treaty will not apply. So that's why 30%. Remember, you have lost some contribution from your old phone. You will be losing once you go to the new phone. That lost contribution also has to be taken into account. You have to deduct it. Lost contribution. And tax on that loss, you will be saving tax. That also has to be there. Tax on lost contribution. How much? 30%. And discount factor has already been given to you. Okay. Leave space. Discount factor at what percent? Already given to you, 14%. See, you cannot even predict also discount factor. If you're told that maybe this might not be a discount factor, because we always think no, you have to calculate a new WACC. You cannot do that. Nothing has been given to you. No information. No cost of equity, cost of WACC. Sorry, equity beta, asset beta. Nothing has been mentioned. So you cannot calculate. If no information is given about discount factor, means same. Because they didn't tell anything that your risk has changed, your gearing has changed. So same discount factor, 14%. Then your discounted cash flow, and then net present value. Okay, you set up this much. So wherever you can enter, go and directly enter it. You don't require workings for sales. Okay, you can just do it, but you just have to inflate it. So here, what is this first year of sales? 8,000. Go to revenue, not the unit. Okay, don't go and do start multiplying the sales unit by the price now. Because it is already done. See, if you go and do 160 into 50,000, you will get 8 million only. Already it has been done. Okay, you just have to take this revenue. Okay, whatever is given here, this only you have to take. Okay, don't copy paste it, just enter the number. It from first year onwards, don't go and put it in year 0. Please check this is year 0. Okay, only initial investment goes there. 8,000, 10, 9, 20, as it is given as it is. 14, 4, sorry, 14, 6, 4, 1, because already they have done it for you. If you see here, they have already inflated it by 5%. Okay, sorry, not inflation, they have taken the selling price of 5% and they have already got this figure for you. If you want to test whether it's correct or not, check it yourself. You will still get the same answer, but it will waste time. $14,641 and 16,670. Okay, don't put comma. Okay, just put it as a number, because otherwise it will treat it as a text. You want it to be treated as a number in Excel. Coming to the other cost. Other cost also you can take as it is. Go here, go down, and this other cost. Okay, just take as it is. 350. Okay, when you are putting cost, please put a minus sign to it because you are going to deduct this. 3508. Do not put bracket because your Excel will take it as a text. Put minus because this is how this Excel, the one which is in your CB platform, has been formatted. Okay, minus 4934 minus 6230 minus 6685. Now we are coming to the component cost. Component cost will come later. Go to tax allowable depreciation. Open here. Already you can see for the first 3 year. Okay, and for the fourth year, this is a balancing allowance. So just write 2701 in the fourth year. So here again it will be minus. Okay, minus. Leave space wherever workings are required and just go and put those figure which directly you can put. Okay, without wasting time. Minus 2711 minus 2033 minus 2701. Okay, now what? Profit before tax you cannot find out. Even tax also you cannot find out because you need component cost. But investment you can put. What is the investment? Go here and this is the investment. 14,460. 14 double. Okay, it's in the year 0. 14,460. Please always check in which column are you putting. This is minus. Okay, minus. Then cash flow you will not get because you need component cost. Rest all you cannot get, but exchange rate, okay, is your working one. For rest all you cannot put it. You need workings. You have to open your working table now. Workings will come after this table also. Please understand. Okay, you need to follow an order. Now after this table, after you finish net present value only, that's why I always tell you fill it because you cannot predict how many space you might read, right? Everything, and then after this come here, workings. Make sure that this is in bold. Okay, right, first working is what? Exchange rates. Label your workings. There are so many workings. So first working is exchange rate. This will be in bold. Okay, now, okay, year. First 4 year you need. Okay, for year 0 you don't need, it's already given to you. ED divide by M dollar. M dollar 1. This is how the exchange rate was given. Let's go to the exchange rate. Okay, here you are already given this. That means 2.6 ED is equals to $1. Okay, so how are you going to find out the exchange rate? Tell me. What is given? Inflation of the two countries. So can't you use purchasing power parity? By using the inflation rate of the two countries, you can predict. You can predict the exchange rate. That is this and this. Always check to predict exchange rate what is given. Inflation rate of two countries. Or whether the interest rate. Here inflation is given. Using that, can't you find out? Yes. So you go and multiply ED with the ED's inflation and divide it by the Martex inflation. So 2.6 into LN's inflation and divided by Martex inflation. Because you have to find out what is your base currency and what is your counter currency. Your base currency is Martec. Why? Because this is, you see, dollar equal to 1. This is known as base currency. Which currency is quoted as 1? It is Martech. So Martech is the base currency. It will come in the denominator. So that's why 2.6 multiplied by 6% divided by 10%. That is the formula for purchasing power parity, if you can recall. If you cannot recall, don't worry. We have it. Open your formula sheet. Go to the formula sheet and go here. This one. You see? Not the first one, this one. S1 is equals to S0 into 1 plus HC divided by 1 plus HB. B means inflation of the base currency. Will come always down, and counter currency will come up into S0. That is the exchange rate given in year 0. That is 2.6. So same formula I have used, but you are not writing the formula down. Okay, don't waste time doing all those. But you can show it in Excel that you have used the formula. How? See, when you go here, take 2.6, always put equal sign, equal to, equal, because if you do not put equal, it will not perform a formula. Function will not be done. 2.6 into, sorry, into, shift, press 8. Okay, 2.2 into, sorry, 2.6 into inflation of ED, that is 6%. That means 1 plus that inflation, 1.06. Divide by 1.08. Inflation of Martech, sorry, 10%, I think. It was 1.10. Enter. You see, some number is coming. Round it up to 4 decimal places. How will you decide? See this one. This one was 2.6000. That means after decimal there was 4 digit. Same way, this also round it up to 4 decimal places. How do you do that? Just go here, format. Okay, go here. Wait. All options will not come. That's why you have to click here, format cells, go to number, or just go all. You want it in 4 decimal places. But here if you say, okay, no, this is not coming to 4 decimal places. Let's do this. We are also learning. Let's learn this. Go here, apply this. No, this. Okay, it has not been built up to take 4 decimal places. So just do undo, undo, undo. Okay. You can do it manually also. Do it again. Equal to 2.6 multiply by 1.06 divide by 1.10. Enter. Okay, because of the format and all, it has been showing 2.51. But go to format cell again, number, all. Just put general. Okay, go back to general. Okay, so just drag this and see. You can manually do it also, or another way to round it up is you can do like this, equal to round this number. You can click this number, press comma, and write enter 4. Enter. You see, I will show you again. The moment you go here, equal to round, put bracket and click that. After that, clicking that cell, put a comma and 4, because you want it in 4 decimal places. If you want it in 3 decimal places, it will be comma 3, comma 1, comma 2, like that. So like this also you can do. or manually you can do by looking at the number. 2.5055 you can take, but normally what happens is in this you can only round it up to 2 decimal places. It has been fixed like that, you see here, or 1 decimal places only. You cannot round it up to 3 or 4. They don't have that function, but through this formula you can do it round. Now just do it for one and drag it to the other cell. Same way here, when you have to do equal to, press this on this, now you are inflating it. Okay, go to the this one and see next year it is 4 and 9%. Inflation is changing every year, so you cannot drag it to the other cell. You cannot copy paste because it's not taking the same inflation. So 1.04 divided by 1.09, enter. This also, okay, round, press this comma 4. You see, like this you can round it up to 4 decimal places. This equal to, take this the previous one and on that inflate it by 3%, divide by 1.08, enter. Try to drag it to the other cell and see whether it is giving you the answer or not. Yes, it is giving you. You can drag it to the other cell. Here, equal to, multiply by 1.03, divide by 1.07, enter. Just take it to this other cell. This plus sign should come and drag it. Automatically it will take the 4 decimal places of this answer. So like this, you'll get it. Or maybe you can bold it out to know that this is the answer. Like this. Okay. So the same exchange rate, okay, you can go and put it. You can copy paste it. Copy. Here, exchange rate. Starting from 1. Paste special. Just you can paste it with the formula or the values. Okay. Let's say we'll press it with the value. See. For year 0 it is 2.6 already given. Okay. But here when you're taking it 2.6, it will take it as 2.6 only. It's not taking 30. So you have to round it up to 3 decimal places. Okay. Maybe you can just put 2.6 randomly somewhere, equal to, round this, sorry, bracket, comma, 4. Put this, comma, 0. So not 0, 4. Enter. No, it will not. It's okay. Keep it as 2.6. It does not matter. It's not taking 2.600. Okay, just take 2.6. It's enough. Okay. Here 0 is already given as 2.6. Okay. Now, what's next? Component cost is working too. So we'll go and do it. Go down to component cost. Now, okay. So component cost, year and everything you have already done it. Here, you need the quantity, you need the price, and you need the inflation with the exchange rate. You need four things here. One is quantity in 1000. Okay, that's in 1000 if we are taking. Next thing you need is what? Price. Because quantity into price. Then you need inflation. You have to inflate it. Then you need the exchange rate because you have to convert it. Remember, in your cash flow, only one in one currency only it has to go. and finally the cost will be in ED because you need it in ED. It's not in ED currently. You understanding? Quantity. How are you going to get the quantity? Open it and look for the quantity. They have already given you the price, okay, saying the transfer price of the new phone will require component made and transfer price of 7 per unit in year 1, okay. The transfer price will increase by annual rate of inflation from year 2 to 4, okay. So first we can put the price at least. Whatever you get first, put it. Price. Don't waste time searching for quantity. 7, 7, 7 and 7. But only from year 2 to 4 you will inflate it. Wait just a minute. Okay. This is in workings, okay. In working this is year 0 in the cash flow, but it's working so it's fine. First year nothing, okay. Second year you have to inflate. When you are going to inflation, please check at what rate you're inflating it. At Martech's rate, because it is given in Martech. So 9%, 8% and 7%. First year, okay, 1.09. 1.09. Here it will be 1.09 into 1.08. Or don't write into because later you cannot multiply. Just put 1.08. But you have to take the previous year and then put it in this one, okay. .07. Or like this also you can show, but it will take a lot of time. Like this also you can take 1.09, 1.08, 1.09, 1.08, 1.07. Like that also you can take. Okay. Then we have exchange rate. And cost. Okay. But we need the quantity. Everything is set. Inflation is done, price is done. Exchange rate also we can go and put it. This one's. Copy. Paste special. Values. You see? So now you only need the quantity. What is the quantity? Okay. So here. Sales unit. This is the quantity. 50,000, 65,000, but you have to drop down to 3 zeros, okay? Because you told in thousands. So 50, 50, 65, 83 and 90. These are the quantities. Okay. 50, 65, 83 and 90. Now simply nothing, you just multiply everything equal to. Okay, wait. For exchange rate, whether you have to divide or multiply is very important. Important rule is always decide whether you have to divide or multiply exchange rate. This decision you have to take. How will you decide it? See, this is ED. These are priced in ED. Okay, ED per $1, and this are in $. Okay, so this is in $. This is also, no, this is in $. This is in ED, different currency. So multiply. Okay, so this multiply by this, multiply by this. But I will teach you another thing which will save a lot of time. If you do like this, individually you have to go and do it in the other four cells. Why? Because in the other cells you have here also, you have here also. You cannot drag it. You cannot drag it to the other cell. But if you do like this, take this empty cells also. Because you have to multiply only at the end everything. Okay, enter. Because these are empty cells. Okay, it will not take it. Okay, this into this into this. Sorry, this. Enter. For addition it will work, but for multiplication this is not working. Okay, now we do it for this also. Equal to this into this, this into this. Enter. Okay, equal to this. See, formatting and all, everything you can do at the end. Quantity into price into inflation into again into the exchange rate. Enter. Here, this into this into this into this. Whenever you're taking inflation, it's not always the current year. You have to bring out the previous 2 years also. That's why you are taking 1.09 and 1.08 also for the fourth year. On that you have to inflate. Now round it up to the whole number. Okay, how to do that? Just go here, or you can just go to format cell, go to number, sorry, go all and click this 10. That means it will round it up to whole number. Okay, you see. So wherever you cannot round it up using a function, you have to perform that round function which I showed you previously, which I was not able to round it up to 4 decimal places because they don't have it inbuilt. But here they have it already inbuilt into whole number, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place. That I can do using function. Okay, like this. Now what do? I just copy paste it. I will just copy paste it. Copy paste here from year 1. Okay, when you are pasting it, go to paste special, just click the value. Okay, because if I click the value I can change. Okay, here also you have to do the formatting again. Go here, format cell, all 0. Okay, okay, now next to it I have to click minus, because I told you it will be deducted. Even if you are clicking it, the whole number will come, but it will show it as a round up figure. Okay, don't worry. Before the number just put a minus. Okay, like this, because you have written working 2 here, so don't worry. When they go, like when they see this number, they will go to working 2 and see how you have got that number. So already workings are done. You don't have to 2 times show here that how you got 870. Already you have labeled it as working 2. So examiner will go down, see your working 2, and they will see the number, right? This is the number that you have got, so they will get it. Because once they click the number, they can see the formula, the function that you have performed. You don't have to write price into inflation into exchange. You don't have to write it like this. Price into inflation. This you don't have to do it. You don't have to show your formula like this. No need. Don't waste time. Now what else? So with that, whatever I can calculate, let me calculate it. Can I get my profit before tax? Definitely, just use the sum function. See how this will save time. Drag it to the other four cells. Now go here, format cell, and click 0 again. From all 0, it will take you to whole number. You see? Did you see this? How effective it is, how fast it is. Now just apply tax on it, 20%. So equal to 0.2 multiply by this. Enter. Equal to 0.2 into this. Enter. It will not take it, okay. So just take it 0 here. Okay, from next year onwards, 20% apply on this. Enter. Drag it to the other cell because it will take 20% only. Go here, format cell again, this. Okay. You see? But there is an issue with this. Second year, you don't have to pay tax. Do you know why? Because something they have mentioned about tax here, which we forgot. Regarding tax. Okay. It will be exempt from any impact of taxation in the first 2 years of operating there in Iran. That means first 2 years exempt on tax. They do not have to pay tax. You understand that? So you don't even have to show 0 here. No 0 because they're not paying tax first 2 years. Like this it will come. Okay, but remember this needs to be shown as negative. How do you show it as negative? Just after the equal sign, okay, just put minus. Enter. Or if you don't want to show minus, what you can do is another way. Just go here, format cell, number minus. Okay, but it will not show it because it's a positive figure. So just put minus. Enter. Here also minus, enter. Because tax will be deducted, no? You have to show it as a negative figure. So the moment someone clicks tax here, they will see they're working here. Okay. Then tax allowable depreciation, add back. Take this number. Copy paste it here, paste special. Remove the minus sign now. Because this time you're adding it. Now, what else? You can get the cash flows in ED very easily. Just use the sum function. Take from here so that you can just drag it to the other cell because here you have caches in other columns. Even if you in year 0 you don't have. So what are you going to do? Take here, enter. Now I'm going to drag it to the other cell. And round it up, format cell, and go to all this. Okay, let's see. Okay, this 4 I want. Format cell. Yes, okay. Something is not working. What is it? Okay, maybe I will try one by one. Format cell, all, 0. Format cell, press all again, press this. Okay. Did you see that? But there's a mistake somewhere. Third and the fourth year. There's a mistake in the third and the fourth year. See, in the third and the fourth year, what went wrong is because here you are not paying any this thing. Okay, I will not perform the sum function. I think something went wrong. It's a mistake. So it's good that we are making this kind of mistakes here so that we know the things that can go wrong. For here also, don't have to click all. Just this you can copy here, paste. But for this, when you are doing here, okay, you have already profit before tax. Okay, from here you are adding your this, enter, format cell, this. Now here when you are starting it, you have to finish it from profit before tax. Okay, and then add your this thing, enter. That's the mistake I did. I started from sales again. So now here, sum function. From profit before tax only you have to do the sum function. Okay, wait. Again, I did a mistake in the new row. Okay, just see this. What mistake did I do? I put it in the wrong column. It should be in this down. You see, cash flow. I was putting in the investment column. That was the mistake I did. It's okay, we can all make this kind of mistake, but your job is to avoid it. Enter. Just drag it. Now it looks better, right? Okay. Now it looks okay because we have taken, but this is wrong. Why? What went wrong here? Remember, for investment, we have a net realizable value for which we didn't include here, investment appraisal. They told realizable value at the end of 4, which is going to be released, 3,400,000, 3.4 million. That 3,400 only we didn't include. That's why the value went wrong. So now, when you're putting the sum function, you have to take this also, starting from profit before tax, this 3,400 also. Now it's correct. Okay. So exchange rate is given, convert it. You have to divide or multiply. Exchange, see, the cash flows are in ED. Exchange rates are also in ED because 2.6 ED is equals to 1 M dollar. So you divide, okay, equal to, divide this by this, enter. Now drag it to the other cell. Go down, format cell. Okay, okay. See, this is what you have to get. After this, additional tax that you have to pay, for which you have to do working 3. Okay, so let's go to working 3. Okay. 3. Additional tax in MarTech. This I will bold it out. Okay, make sure that this is also bolded out so that you know you have copy pasted. Now year 1 2 3, okay, that is already there. Now what do you do? Taxable profit. Start with taxable profit. Okay, taxable profit in land. In MarTech you have to pay additional tax for that. Okay, exchange rate also, because that is in different. Taxable profit in LN is in their currency. When you're paying tax in MarTech, it has to be in MarTech. That's why you need exchange rate, so that you get the taxable profit in MarTech. Okay, and additional tax 10%. So what is the taxable profit in LN? You've already got it. From here you have to get it. This one, profit before tax. This profit before tax only you have to take. Here you have paid 20% in LN. Now in MarTech you have to pay 10% on that, because you are going to remit it back. Everything is going to be remitted back. So this, just copy paste it here. Paste special. Just again you have to click values. Just click the value. Okay. Format cell. Okay. Exchange rate also you can just copy paste it. Okay. So this is the taxable profit, and exchange rate also is just given here only. Copy paste paste. Okay. Once it is done, additional tax. No, first taxable profit you have to convert it. Divide or multiply. Divide, because this is in this LN, this exchange rate is also in LN. Same currency, divide. Okay. So here nothing will go, 0 only. Here equal to this divide by this, and drag it to the other cell. Format cell. Okay. Now it is in MarTech. Once the taxable profit is in MarTech, then only you can tax. So additional 10% tax equal to 0.1 into this. Enter. Take it to the other cell. Format cell. Okay. You see this? You can even put a minus, because, and drag it to the other cell. Okay, so what do? Just copy paste. Copy paste, go up. So this takes a lot of time. Okay, year 0 nothing, year 1 also nothing, so it starts from here 2 3 4. Paste. No, wait, once you are pasting it, I think there is something wrong here. Yes, there is something. Yes, you have taken it in the wrong column and this thing, that's why. You see, '87, this has to be take 87, this. Okay, copy. paste. No, it's not happening. It is taking 0 point of this, that's why. Okay, you just have to paste the value, that's it. Paste special, just the values. Okay, okay, now it's correct. Now what's next? Additional contribution, isn't it? Additional contribution, go to working for. This is bold. Okay. Here you need quantity, price, inflation, and the margin, contribution margin. So here, same quantity in thousands. If it's in thousands, always show that it's in thousands like this. If you're dropping down the 3 zeros, make sure that you make it very clear by denoting it like this. If you're not dropping down the 3 zeros, dealing in actual number, then you don't have to show this. But I would always suggest drop down the 3 zeros and deal is easier in that way to deal with small number. Rather than writing 50,000, 65,000, it's easier to deal with 50, 65 like that. Year 1. Okay, price. Inflation. You have already done it for your component cost, so easily you can do for this. Okay, my spelling might be wrong, but here instead of exchange rate, just the contribution margin. Because in Martin you don't have to change the exchange rate this time. Leave it in Martin. Okay. Same quantity that we have used for finding the cost. 50, 65, 83, and 90. The price will be 7 only. 7, 7, 7, 7. Inflation will be from the first year onwards. 1.09, 1.09, 1.08. Okay. 1.09, 1.08, 1.07. And the contribution margin is how much? How much is the contribution margin? They have already told you that pre-tax contribution of 35% on sales. That is the contribution. Okay. So 0.35, 0.35. This only you have to copy in the other cell. Just drag it to the other cell. Just do undo. Okay. Just put 0.3. Okay. Done. Now what? Find the additional contribution. AC. Okay. Just multiply this into this into this. Enter. Same way here also. You have to be a little quick. Okay. This is why I told you have to do multiple things in AFM and you have to time yourself. This into this into this into this. Go and format your cells now. See, you cannot see the format cells, right? You have to drag it a little further so that you can see till the down the option. Okay. Okay. You see? Make everything the final answer in the whole number. It looks better and more presentable. Don't keep it in decimal places. Just copy paste this. Copy. Go up and paste it here. Paste special, just the value. Again, you have to format cell. You see here. Now what else? 30% tax on that, so just equal to 30% tax on that. Do we have to pay 30% tax in the first year? You have to pay. Remember, the 2% is only in Elang that you are not paying the tax. But when you come to Martech, here you have to pay 30% from year 1, 2, 3, 4 all on that contribution. Drag it to the other cell, format cell, this, okay. You see? And it has to be minus. So just put a minus, drag it to the other cell. Now, what is the lost contribution? Here, they told that the pre-tax contribution lost from the sale is 400,000 in year 1, and this you will increase by the annual rate of inflation in Martech. So Martech's inflation rate is here. 9, 8 and 7%. You see? So first year it will be minus 400 that you are losing. Then you will increase it by 9% equal to this multiply by 1.09, 9%. Then it is 8%. So here on this multiply 8% and then 7%. But this too, format cell, take it out. Okay. Okay. Now what? Tax lost on contribution. Remember, you are saving tax. Now you are saving tax on this lost contribution. So it will be plus. Okay. 0.3 into. You can just write 400 on your own. Because this is a negative figure, then again you have to change it to positive. It's a big thing. Equal to 30% on 436. Equal to 30% on 504. Okay. Whichever you think will save your time, do that method first. Any method you can use to do anything. Okay. There is no hard and fixed rule that this is the only way you have to do. In AFM, you are free to do any way the calculations you want. The only thing is you have to save time. That's it. Now what else? Now what else? Get the cash flow. Just have the sum function and get the cash flow. Where are you going to start it from? See, this is a good thing. When you're having the things which are negative in negative and plus in plus, easily you can perform the sum function without wasting time. You start from here, cash flow. Okay, drag it like this. So that in other cell you can just copy paste. Drag it to the other cell, go here, format cell and put it in number and okay. Just see. Within seconds I did it. But if I already did some function for this, if I didn't take it to the other cell, what I have to do in the others, I have to do everything. This also I have to do, third also I have to do, fourth also again I have to perform some function. So rather than doing that sum function 5 times, do it one time and just take it to the other cell. This saves the time. Okay, you have to be smart enough, I told you. Discount factor. Go to formula shed, here, go to the discount factor table. Okay, go to 14%. Year 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just see whether you can copy this or not. Copy. From year 1 it will start. Paste. It will not paste it like this. Try to paste the value. Paste. No, it will not. Okay, I will try again. It's good to do trial and error in all those things. Copy, go here, paste special, just a value. Okay, no, it will not. So you type it. It will not copy paste it from that. Okay, so just write it. 1. So first here is 1, then it is 0.877, 0.769. Okay, we'll see that too later, but just keep adding the number. 0.675 and 0.592. Okay, taking this, okay, you have to take it to 3 decimal places. So format cell, no, you have to take it to 3 decimal places, round it up. Go here in that cell only, click round, and no, it's not doing. Okay, there's a reason why it is showing like this, because when you format it, go to format cell, put it all and general. Okay, yes, you always have to put it in format cell general. Okay, whenever you have to bring it, restore it to your original form, okay, do this. Format cell, go to all and general, make it general like this, then discount factor, this, multiply by this, enter, drag it to the other cell, format cell, this, okay, okay, and then sum function, this, enter, make this also format cell. Yippee, it's a positive net present value. Good. So the net present value is 959. You have got, make sure that you highlight it. You can highlight it like this if you want, fill it, or you can even just make it bold or change the font or anything, whatever you feel like to show your answer. So now remember one word you have to write here, one line. You have to write it here. What is it? That the investment has a positive net present value on the financial grounds, so it should be accepted. You have to write it there. Okay? Okay. I will write it. The investment has a positive. In Excel only you can write it, net present value, and on financial ground should be accepted. Okay. If you want, you can just drag it like this. Okay, you see, now it looks better, no? So we are almost done with the first part. What else is remaining? Appendix 2 for our sensitivity and duration. Okay, appendix 2 is part B. Which part? Third part. Remember, second part we are writing the report. So sensitivity, you have to be very clear with your net present value, because your sensitivity is based on that net present value. If that is correct, sensitivity will be correct. But even if it's wrong, let's say your net present value is wrong, you might think my sensitivity will be wrong. Will my marks be cut twice? No, only once. That's a good thing in ECCA, that they only cut marks once for that incorrect net present value. Again, if you bring forward that net present value, that incorrect net present value, and do sensitivity analysis on that, your marks will not be cut again. Only once you'll be penalized. But in the exam, sometimes you come to know very late that you have made a mistake. Let's say in this table, you forgot to put loss contribution, or let's say tax was wrong. Sometimes remember, you have to be very wise enough. You have to use your judgment here. Whether you have to redo the things again, whether you have the time to correct it again, assuming that you have already written the report based on the numbers, or you have to move forward with the mistake you have made. You have to make a wise decision there. If you are running short of time, you have already taken the 90 minutes time for the first question, my advice is don't change the figure. Go with it. Later, if you get time, try to do the change. If the changes are not in so many places, for example, report needs to be changed, that needs to be changed. If you have the time, do it. But you have to estimate your time accordingly and do it. Okay? Sometimes you have to go forward with the incorrect thing, knowing it's incorrect. So, sensitivity. Okay? Let's do duration first and then the sensitivity of this thing. Duration. Duration was asked first. So let's do the duration. Okay. For doing duration, you need present value. Here, all the 4 years. You need present value in what currency? You have already converted into M's dollar. M's dollar. M dollar. And you need the percentage. You can show it like this also. Percentage of total present value. So you have already earlier calculated the present value. Okay, go up and just copy paste it. You don't need 0, only 1. Copy, paste, only the value. Paste special. Again you have to click this value. Okay, but you have to go here, custom this. Okay, now when you're taking it in terms of percentage, okay, how are you taking it in terms of percentage? See, just have a sum function here, add all this for. Okay, this also here, general, sorry, custom this. Okay, so out of this, okay, if you want to find it in terms of proportion, this divide by this, enter. That means 16.8. So keep doing like this. Okay, you cannot do it for the other. Equal to this divide by this. This divide by the total present value, because you want to find the proportion. Divide by this, enter. Now change all this to percentage. Now it's up to you whether you want to keep it to 1 decimal place or 2 decimal place. Okay, let's take it to 1 decimal place. Okay, so now when you have to find the duration, okay, this is how you find the duration. Multiply the year with the percentage, year. So this multiply by this. Put a bracket here. Equal, put a bracket. This multiply by this. It has nothing to do with present value. Okay, plus this multiply by this, plus again bracket, this multiply. You will see by the color that you are using the correct box. Plus you have to add this into this, enter. This, round it up to 2 decimal places. Go here, click this. So you see your duration is 2.86. That means in 2.86 years you will recover. This is in years, okay? You can write it here, years. So 2.86 is the average time to recover the present value of the project. Write it in sentence like this. 2.86 years is the average time to recover the present value of the project. Write one line like this always after the calculation is done. Now we are coming to the sensitivity of revenue. My spelling might be wrong, but it's fine because already 2 hours went, so I have to do it in a hurry. But you don't make this mistake. Write properly in the exam. Okay. Because you have in different currency, always write the currency. Okay. ED 1000. So I'm just doing it hurry. Okay. So sensitivity of revenue. You have to start with the revenue first. You first have to find the present value revenue less tax. That's what you have to find out. Forget about everything. Only focused on sales. Okay. Start with sales first. Sales revenue. Okay. Already it has been given to you. 8,000. See, when you do, again, you have to be wise enough. Okay. Imagine all the way you have to go up, find out the sales, copy paste again. If you think this takes a lot of time, then just start typing it. It's fine. Whatever I told you is saving time, do it. Okay. So rather than copy pasting it, if you think you have to all the way go up, drag it, copy paste, come down, takes time, then just type it. 14,641 and 16,670. Now, tax. The moment you get tax, deduct tax on that sales. Tax, what percentage? 20%. Allowance tax only. Okay. First 2 years you are not paying. Okay. Already you have calculated the tax. So just write it minus 2928. You can go up and check also if you want. 3334. So just use the sum function. Bracket this to enter. Take it to this cell. Okay. Here also you have to write as it is 8,000, 10, 920. Now what? Exchange. Exchange rate. Already we have calculated. I'm just typing it fast. Okay. So everything you are forgetting, you're only focusing on sales and the tax. And then you are converting it to Malang, and there you have to pay additional tax. Because tax is something which you cannot ignore, okay? That you have to pay. So additional tax 80 in Martin. 10%. Okay, but for this we need a working here again. Just give me a minute. Here you need a, see, you cannot go to your previous working number 3 and do it, appendix 1 and 3. See, you might be thinking we have already done it. Why to do it again? Right? Let's go up. Working number 3, additional tax in Martech. But this additional tax in Martech is on the taxable profit, my dear friends. Now you are taking it only in the sales value. So you have to do it again. I know it sounds too much. It's a bit too much. But by looking at the length of this question, you will know how much time you need. You need 90 minutes. More than 90 minutes you cannot spend on this. Maybe the first 15 minutes that you get also you can spend on this. Because paper is 3 or 15 minutes. So 15 plus 90 will give you how many minutes in total for yours? Question number 1. 105 minutes. Okay. So let's do that. Basically, you just convert your sales. Earlier, you were taking your profitable, taxable, profitable, and converting exchange rate and then paying additional tax. Now you're doing but this with the sales. Take sales, convert it using exchange rate to Martech, and then take additional 10% on that. Okay, you've already gotten it here. So here, before taking 10%, you need to first convert it. You didn't convert it here. So equal to this. Divide or multiply? Divide. Okay. Take it to the other side. Form itself here. Okay. Now additional tax comes. 10%. So just take 10% on this. Drag it. Format special. Here. You see? But there is a problem with this if you do this. Why? See, in the first 2 years, you didn't pay tax in Eden. Is it? You didn't pay the first 2 years in Ellen, sorry. So that's why the first 2 years there'll be no impact. This are correct. On this you can just simply take. But in here, because you paid there, so this will be different. So you cannot use this method. Maybe first 2 years okay, but for this and this you cannot do. You need a separate working for it. I know it's too much of working, but what to do? But we'll just leave space here at 10%. Okay. After this, discount factor 14%. This also you have to find discount factor. Okay, 0.87. This we can fill it up. And 0.592. Okay. Leave some space. Go to working. Okay. Sales revenue in LN 8,000. 10,920, 14,641, 16,670. Then we have exchange rate year. Just copy paste it. Okay, once you paste it, taxable sales revenue. Okay, using it, convert this, divide by this. Now, what's next? Additional text 10%. So here it will be just same as it is. This two we have already done it. I'm only doing it on this two. Okay, equal to 10% on this. This to format cell here. Okay, so 642 and 760. This is what you have to copy paste. Copy, paste special, just the value. You see, you see this. So it is just not 10% on this too. Now this has to be minus. Okay, now what? What do you do? Take the sum function and do it. This minus this. Enter. Drag it to the other cell. Go to format cell. Take this. Done. Okay, and now using the discount factor, find out the present value of revenue less tax. Tax, both the tax you have taken, that 20% also and additional 10% also. This multiply by this. Enter. Drag it to the other cell, format cell, and change it. Now present value of revenue less tax. Take the sum function of all this four. $11,864. This is what you wanted to know. Now what do you have to do? You have to see how much reduction in this will cause a negative zero net present value. Okay, so what was your net present value? See, the formula is net present value divided by this present value of sales. Okay, so it is simply reduction in selling price. Okay, if you want to know this, what was your net present value? 959,000 divided by 11,864,000. This. That's why you want to find the present value of revenue less tax. Put it in terms of percentage. Go here, change it to percentage. 1 decimal place. So this is that means your selling price has to reduce by 8.1% before you can have a zero net present value. You understand? Let's go up. We only worked with sales here. You see, only sales. We don't want other cost. We don't want anything else. Only sales and tax. and then we want to find the present value of sales. Okay, to find the reduction in selling price. If it was on cost, they might ask you sensitivity analysis on cost. Then you only have to take the cost and deduct your tax and do the same way. So it depends on what variable you have been asked in the question. Here it is only sales, so we only focused on sales because we wanted to know how our sale price must be reduced. If it was cost, the question might be how much the cost must would have to increase before net present value could be zero. Okay, so read the question carefully. Now, so we are done with all the calculation. Everything is done. Now we can go back and start writing the report. Okay, you can go and start stating the assumption. Go to word process and see. You can start listing your assumption first. You can do it in the order or you can do it in any order. But make sure conclusion you write it at the end. You can first start with sensitivity. You can start with duration, assumptions, anything. Okay. So let's start with stating the 5 assumptions because it's for 5 marks. That means in 5 separate paragraphs. You can write your assumptions in any order, but 5 assumptions needs to be written. So let's do that. Assumption number 1. Okay. So we can talk about whenever you are given investment appraisal question where you are given sales, cost, okay, your assumptions could be regarding those variables. Okay. So it can include everything: revenue, cost, tax, working capital, investment. Okay. So all the figures relating to these variables are assumed to be accurate. Okay. This is a very common what do I say? Common assumption that you can use for any investment appraisal question. Okay. So I will write it out for you. That's the first this thing. Okay, you can write it in first paragraph because it's the first point you're writing. Because remember, if your this figures change variables, okay, if there is no accuracy, your whole assumption, your whole net present value changes. That's why you have to write this as an assumption that you assumed that these figures are accurate. Okay. Figures relating to variables such as revenues, cost, tax, okay, and investment, initial investment, are assumed to be accurate. Now you can elaborate this point and write more on this if you want. I'm just giving you the points. I'm not writing the detailed answer. So the next assumption is what? You have to go through your this thing. Open your exhibit 2 and go through it. Wherever you can find estimate has been used. That is the area where you have to talk about assumption. Okay. For the first one, first assumption, you can talk about when you want to explain this point. Okay, you can say that any changes in this, any significant changes in any of this variable can cause a change in the net present value, right? That means it can even suggest a different decision because now you are saying based on the figure that net present value is positive, accept the project. But if any of this figure changes, let's say sale drops down drastically, cost increases, tax is even higher than that, then your net present value might be negative. It means you might have to change the decision of undergoing the project. Okay. So what could be the second one? I'm keeping this open for you. Okay. Make sure on your screen if you're doing it, go through it and find out for one. One more thing which is applicable for this case study, which is not common, is you see that regarding tax, they have told that in the first 2 years they will be exempt, okay, from the tax. So this is also, it looks like doubtful, right? Why they will be exempt from tax in the first 2 years. So this also you can write in your assumption in the first point only. Okay. Under the first point itself you can explain. So the second could be, what did you come up with anything? Cost of capital. You can talk about the cost of capital 14%. I told you I'm just writing the point, you have to elaborate on it. Okay? Because why we are using this cost of capital was not clearly explained, which is when with the assumption, right? So even this might not be accurate because investment in Allen might have different business risk to this. So if it has a higher business risk, cost of capital must be higher than 14%. The third assumption, what is the third assumption? Exchange rates. Exchange rates. About exchange rates, you can talk about. They see exchange rates you have predicted using inflation rate, right? Of the two countries. In other words, it is known as using purchasing power parity. Okay. But this assumes that your exchange rate will remain stable. But is it so? No. Your nominal exchange rate, they keep fluctuating because of inflation. Because inflation does not stay stable. No. If inflation changes, exchange rate changes. But this model assumes exchange rate will remain stable. Because there are other factors other than inflation which could affect your exchange rates. This can include your interest rate, market sentiment, and government policy. All this matters. All this will affect your exchange rate, but this has not been taken into account. We already assumed exchange rates could be predicted using the difference of the two inflation of the two countries. What is the fourth? See, in every question you see in the past paper, always we need working capital, right? But in this question, they told that no further working capital will be needed for this project. Isn't it doubtful that this project appears very significant? Okay. New subsidiary you're establishing also, and also the new product is being sold also from the first year onwards, and you don't even require working capital. So this is doubtful. This is also an assumption, right? That you don't need a working capital for the new project. That means they have assumed that they already have sufficient working capital, the company, Pfizer company, right? And what is the, okay, regarding working capital. Fourth one was regarding working capital, right? That they have enough. What is the fifth assumption? Realizable value. You can talk about realizable value. This five assumptions will be written in five separate paragraphs, okay? What is about realizable value? See, they are assuming that you can sell this subsidy as a going concern, right? Based on that only they have got the realizable value. What if you cannot sell it as a going concern? Then what? It's questionable, right? So if you are having a zero realizable value in that case, it will lower your net present value. It can even make it negative also. But no, it will not make it negative. Why? Because we have done the sensitivity analysis, right? but anyway it will reduce somewhat. So you have to do further analysis and all those things, okay, of further analysis of the scenarios of selling the subsidiary as a going concern and what the selling price might be. Okay, now, so these are the assumptions. Now we are going to the duration. Okay, in the report only we are doing all these things. We have already calculated in your appendix. So using that appendix, what was it? 2.86. Are we doing all the calculations here? Do we need to copy paste calculations here? No. Only we have to write about duration. Okay. We only need to write about duration. And let us go back to the requirement. How much should we write? See, we already got the 6 marks when we calculated. Okay. Sorry, the 2 marks for the duration. But now another 6 marks for discussing the significance and concern with this investment duration. You have to explain here for 6 marks. This 6 marks is divided between the sensitivity and duration. Okay. So that will tell you how much you have to explain. Maybe 3 points will be enough for duration to explain. 3 marks for duration and 3 marks for sensitivity. Okay. So first you should start by saying what is the duration that you have got. Duration of 2.86 years is the average. Okay. So I'm not writing the full sentence. You can write it on your own. But duration is 2.86 years. That means duration of 2.86 is the average time to recover the present value of the project. That is the first line you are going to write. Second paragraph, you have to talk about what are you going to talk about duration? You can bring IRR also in the picture, right? You can say that if the project is discounted at IRR, it is the time taken to recover the initial investment. However, unlike simple payback, duration calculation takes into account the time value of money and the timing of cash flow over the whole investment period. So basically, you're talking about the advantages of duration. Next para, you can talk about advantages. Whenever you're writing advantages of something, try to compare it with another method. That is the best way to show that this is beneficial. You can compare this with payback period. Compare with, see, why? Because in payback period, what happens? They do not take the entire cash flow. After, once you're recovered, they do not care after that what's happening with the cash flow. But duration takes account of the entire project's cash flow. All the 4 years cash flow will be taken into account. And also the discount. Time value of money is taken into account, which was not there in the payback. So these are the two advantages. Now we'll talk about the problems. Third paragraph, you can talk about problems of, I'm just giving you the points. The answer is not don't write problems of duration. Okay, you have to actually write the problems. Problems of duration. What could be the problem? Think. See, the concept of average time that is taken to recover money may not be easily understood. Many might not even understand it also. Okay. And if a number of projects are being considered in a capital rationing, that means with limited capital, if you are comparing which project to invest in that way, duration can provide a point of comparison. You can compare whichever is giving you the lowest duration, obviously you will choose that product where you are having limited resources. But this decision appears to be one of decision. Okay. But directors, it is up to the directors. They have to decide what is the acceptable duration for them. Is it 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? Depends. This is very difficult to decide on what is acceptable duration for you. And one more thing which you can add. What is it? It's an assumption. That means in duration there is one assumption. What is it? What is that assumption? The assumption is shorter the duration, better it is. That is the assumption. Shorter the duration period, lower the risk. Okay. So because of this, you will be basing decisions on duration, which may result in a bias towards short-term projects. So you will support those projects which are short-term because your duration will be shorter, right? For example, you're comparing two projects. One is for 10 years. It will give you a stable type of income. But duration is, let's say, 5 or 6 years. Other project is only for 3 years, giving you a duration of 1 year, 1.5 year. Which one will you choose? It's difficult to choose, right? Because different time scale. One is for 10 year, one is 3 years. Even if you're choosing based on duration, but the scale is different, no? The other one is giving you 10 years of stable income, and but the duration is 6 years, so you're going to reject that project. So that's not a good thing. Limitation of duration, right? Now we are moving on to sensitivity of selling price. Here, let's say 3 points we can write on this. Okay, if you see the answer is very lengthy. That is not an actual answer. In the exam scenario, no candidate can write that much. Trust me on this. Time yourself. Looking at the answer, time yourself and try to type it. You will not be able to finish it in time. So do not run behind perfect answer, or you exactly have to memorize it, or you have to write what is written. No, you have to write your own answer. Understanding the concept is enough to pass AFM. Trust me on this. The moment you understand sensitivity, the moment you know how to write in your own words, you understood the game. Okay. So now, what does this indicate? Basically, in words, you have to talk. This shows that how a small change in selling price can cause a change in the net present value. Okay, you can talk in terms of figures now. Talk about 8.1% because this is what you have calculated. Whenever you have calculated something, some numbers you have found out, use that number in your answer to write. Okay, so this shows that if your selling price is 8.1% lower, you will be having a zero net present value. That is the first thing you can write. Okay, zero. I'm just writing short form so that you know what to write. Having reducing your selling price by 8.1%. That means if it's more than, let's say, your selling price reduced by 9%, automatically you will know your net present value will be negative. So you have to make sure that your selling price, when you're reducing it also, it's between 1 to 8%, not beyond that. You understanding? This is a decision point. It helps you to choose a selling price. But what else can you write? Because this is only 1 point. What else can you write? Think. Why you want to go? Give logical reason. Second paragraph is logical reason. See, you are in the phone company, right? When you are introducing initially, you want to lower your price, isn't it? Mobile is not a For mobile you can reduce prices. It is not luxurious product or something. Okay, unless it's an Apple or something. So as a manager, your first thing will be you want to know how much can you reduce the prices so that you can increase the demand, right? So that's why this will be a good decision for you. That it's a decision making point. Helping this will help you that also. How much can you reduce the price before having a negative net present value, right? What is another thing that you can write? Maybe in third paragraph. Think. You can give limitations of sensitivity analysis in the third. Okay. For example, you might say that uh, a reduction in selling price might not always reduce the sales volume. because it might be dependent on many things. For example, maybe at the same time your cost is increasing, or let's say the phone is taken as a luxury good. So even if you reduce the selling price, quantity will not reduce. So in this case, you can say the sensitivity analysis will not be able to capture it. Why? One limitation of sensitivity analysis is it only looks at one variable. That means change in one variable will affect the net present value. But in reality, with the change in the selling price, your cost is also changing, right? So maybe you can use simulation method to analyze the situation better because it works better than sensitivity analysis. It looks at complex scenario. It takes multiple factor into account. For example, changes in the cost, sensitivity of selling price, sensitivity of cost, all those things it takes together to show the changes in the net present value rather than just looking at the selling price. Okay, so this also you can write. Now, what else? I think we have included everything. Now let's go to the conclusion. Finally, how to end the report. So if you go through the report, you have done everything. Always check whether every part is over or not. Introduction is done, assumption is done, duration is done, sensitivity is done, conclusion. Or obviously the calculations are done in the spreadsheet. Okay, make sure that when you're doing calculations in spreadsheet, it's neat and presentable like this. It needs to be understood. Consistency has to be there. Okay, for example, you're dropping down three zeros for sales, but for cost you are including all the three zeros. You're writing it in millions. It will not work out. You have to see whether everything is, in everything did you drop down the zeros or not. Okay, coming to conclusion. Conclusion also is very similar for any report that you write. You just have to link with other all your other parts of the report. You have to write about in your conclusion. You have to link it and summarize it like. So you can say the financial, I'll write it for you. Maybe you can just use it for your other questions. The financial appraisal suggests that, what does financial appraisal suggest? That means net present value says that it's worthwhile to take the project, right? That making the investment will result in a positive net present value. That's what you have to write. Is it very difficult to write it? No, right? We all know that. So suggest that making the investment, you can write this in your own words. Change the words here and there. It's fine. Investment will result in a positive. Even your conclusion, like your introduction, has to be short. Okay, only your middle part of the report has to be the biggest. Will result in positive net present value, and the investment should therefore be undertaken. Now what's next? However, see, whenever you're telling them based on positive net present value accept the project, now start talking about limitations, non-financial factors. However, so you link like this. However, this is based on number of assumptions. Financial appraisal, okay, FA, I'm using short form just to save time now, is based on, because we have one more part to go, part C, and we are already over, it's going to be 3 hours. Okay, however, financial appraisal is based on number of assumptions. You always have to talk about your assumptions. Assumptions means you're not listing all the 5 assumptions here. No, 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 you have already done it. Don't repeat it. Just say that there are a number of assumptions. That's it. That financial, this one is based on number of assumptions. Writing this much is enough. And changes in this may impact upon the commercial viability of the investment. We have checked it through sensitivity analysis that if any of this assumption changes, your decision changes. So that you have to write. Changes in this may lead or may impact upon the commercial viability, right? Or you can say feasibility, anything is fine. Financial feasibility, commercial viability, anything, any term is fine. Upon the commercial viability of the investment. Then what's next? Therefore, now you're suggesting, you have to suggest them. Conclusion is basically nothing but you're suggesting them what to do. Additional, okay, you can say that additional, okay, my spelling is wrong anyway, it doesn't matter. For me, it does not matter, but for you in the exam, it matters. You have to write it in proper this thing, okay? Therefore, additional sensitivity and scenario analysis. Even in your exam, you can use the same conclusion, okay? Same conclusion does not mean that because here you are getting positive, there also you might get positive net present value. No. If there you are getting a negative net present value, how you will change the conclusion smartly? You will use the same thing, but you will say the project should not be accepted because it has a negative net present value. However, it is based on assumptions, but changes in any of this might make it positive net present value. So you will just use the same words, but you will just change it. It will become opposite. That's it. Therefore, additional sensitivity and scenario analysis should be this recommendation you can give same as it is. Additional sensitivity and scenario analysis should be undertaken. This is for investment appraisal question you have to give the recommendation, okay? Not for any other thing. Then what's next? The directors need to define what constitute acceptable and unacceptable outcomes in the light of the strategic reasons for undertaking the investment before making a financial decision. Or you can just cite that undertaken before making a financial decision. This is enough. This much is enough. So we are done with it. Just go back and see. Did you complete every part of the report? Yes, you have done. This is how it looks like. Needs to end with conclusion. Now we are doing the last part, that is part C. So you have written in the format, report format, structure is there. You have followed this structure. You first finish with net present value, then assumption, then duration, then sensitivity, then conclusion. And presentation, obviously you have presented. You have written it under appendix in your Excel. Okay. Now coming to third requirement, C. This is outside the report, okay? How will you know what is in a report? See, having this, okay, the moment this is there, that means your report ends. That is the ending of the report. If this was here, down, after part C, then you know even your part C is included in your report. But this comes before part C. So this is a separate question, separate from your report, okay? Now, discuss the factor that may determine the extent to which the company adopts the campaign. That means what factors leads them to adopt this campaign for investment policy. You can think, because they said fair production, it's an ethical question. You will get one ethical question in your AFM, and mostly that ethical question comes in a 50 marks question as a last part like this. So be prepared for it. That is from your section A of the syllabus, role of senior financial advisor. This is worth 6 marks. 6 factors you have to give. You need to open your exhibit 3. So let's read. Recent improvement in Alliance's economic position has been partly due to investment from foreign companies. The Campaign for Fair Production, a global lobbying organization seeking better treatment of workers and local communities, has claimed that foreign companies currently investing has adopted a number of unethical practices there. That means foreign companies are adopting unethical practices in the island. So they have called for all foreign investors to go beyond their legal responsibility and adopt this. The charter includes requirements to increase, okay, we'll see what the charter includes. Requirements to increase wages. Let's highlight it. Provide appropriate education for employees. Keep the adverse impact on the local environment to a minimum. This is about environment. Prohibit the use of child labor. This is the 4th one. The charter also requires companies to disclose how they are meeting its requirement. You have to disclose also. The CFP is likely to call for boycotts of companies which fail to agree to this charter and continue to follow unethical practice. The board will consider whether to agree as a part of its appraisal of investing. The company may also invest in production facilities in other countries in the longer term. The board will consider whether the charter ought to be a part of the framework for developing the company's future investment policy. They have a good reputation and produces a published statement of corporate social responsibility and is keen to maintain his reputation. Word processor coming down. You only have the same word processor. This you have to use for part C also. Okay, part C. Now tell me what needs to be here. What can you talk about? See, this is for 6 marks, okay? So accordingly, you have to divide it. Again, let's go requirement. I'm sure you didn't understand the requirement. Discuss the factor, okay, that may determine the extent to which the company adopts this in developing its framework for investment policy. You can talk about reputational risk. One factor is this, okay, because they are keen to maintain their reputation. So one is reputation risk. You can talk about. Make it bold. What is another thing? Responsibilities to workers and local community. First, I'll write the points, then I will explain you the points. And you have to write the points, obviously. And the third is what? Investment policy. So for reputation risk, what can you write? I'm not writing the answer, but definitely you need to write it. What can you write? Whenever you're writing, mention the company. See, they told that CFFP is going to boycott if they come to know that you are not following the rules, right? So in that case, having reputation risk might lead to financial implications also for you. It might be costly for you also. Understanding? So this will have an impact on the reputation. So company needs to consider that this could be a factor. Okay? The board has to see whether this is likely to happen or not and what impact of the boycott will be on the company. They have to see this. And if you comply with the CFFP's charter, you are likely to attract customers that are concerned with ethical issues. That means ethical consumers you will attract. So this needs to be considered. What could be another thing for reputation risk? See, if you're not disclosing how you treat your workers in Allen, okay, the company could be accused of concealment. That means they might think, other companies might think that you are not treating your employees well. Okay. So this could be a negative publicity for you. You understanding? Now, coming to the responsibilities to workers and local community. What can you write for this one? See, if the company adopts the charter, okay, they have to wage responsibilities to its employees and the local community. And see whether this conflict with their maximizing value for the shareholders. Okay. For example, increasing wage costs, will it affect your profit? Because according to this charter, they told that wage rate has to be increased. So you have to see whether this will affect your profit or not. And what about education? Paying for employee education. See, this you can view it as a investment in human capital, because this will increase your future shareholder value. What would be the impact on the local community? It's difficult to evaluate, right? Now let us go to investment policy. What about investment policy? Your investment policy will need to be consistent with the company's mission and objective, right? Including both ethical and environmental responsibilities. So this charter may provide a basis for investment policy, which is consistent with the company's mission also. But adopting all of it may constrain the company's decision making. If you try to go by all the what is it? What are the elements? Let's see. You have to give increase your wages. You have to educate your employees. You have to prohibit the use of child labor. Disclose. So all those things could be costly for you. This might even restrict your decision making power also, if you go by the charter, right? So the company's board may consider an approach of following the code's board principles and adopting some specific requirements. For example, provision of education for employees. They might go by some, they might not follow some. That also could be done. So basically the positive and the negative impact of adopting this charter you have to explain. Okay. So that's it for question number 1. For 50 marks, you see that we have almost spent 3 hours. This is not good. But since I'm explaining you also, that's why I took time. Otherwise, you should finish this question in 90 minutes. 50 into 1.8. 90 minutes you have to finish. The remaining 45 minutes you have to finish the 225 marks question. So in this video, only question 1 is explained. The next 2 questions will be explained in another 2 videos, the upcoming videos. I'll be explaining question 2 of this paper, that is AFM March June 2022. Okay, question number 2 will be explained in the next video, and after that the third video will be explaining question number 3. Okay, so this paper is divided into 3 separate parts. Question 1 in first video, then question 2, then it will be followed by question 3. So thank you for watching, and do see my next video, which will be question 2 of this. I will take you through question 2 next. So this is question 2. This is regarding hedging, right? Your risk management. So see you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel. Thank you and best of luck for your exam.